So, greetings from the Eccentric Man, and another battle report, and this one is the second battle in our mini campaign. This is from the Battle of France book, and it's the scenario First Day. Obviously it's not going to be the first day, because it's going to be a little bit further in, because it's the British Expeditionary Force fighting the German Blitzkrieg, somewhere in Belgium. So that's the game we're playing. It's a little bit of an advantage to me, as I won the first mini campaign against John, first campaign game against John. I get plus 10% troops, so my 1,000 has now gone up to 1,200. So that's quite useful, and we'll go through the armies very shortly. So key thing for this one is I've got to win. If John wins, he's batted back the German advance, and he wins. So the Germans have got a slight superiority in numbers, but I've got to win. And in this scenario, John gets to dig in with his BEF. Anyway, so let's go on to the today's army. We're doing the second scenario for the mini campaign, Battle of France, and I've got a double German infantry platoon. So let's have a look at the first platoon. So first platoon here is I've got a inexperienced officer and a 38T regular, 2 units of here infantry, 8 men, regulars as I said, with light machine gun, and the NCO with a submachine gun. I've got a medium mortar, and that's the first platoon. Second platoon, I've got a veteran officer and 2 here regular infantry units, again light machine gun, and the NCO with the submachine gun. An anti-tank rifle team, and I've got no idea, because I can't remember whether he's veteran or regular, but probably regular, I would think. And then we've got the Panzer IV, but only the smaller version, but it is the D version, which is 9+ armour, which is crazy, isn't it, for that early war-ish. But I suppose the Matildas and things.
Not very good gun.
Yeah, light howitzer. And then we've got the 2316 Rad, which has got the 20mm auto cannon, and a Pioneer unit, which are veterans with submachine guns, and a truck with a machine gun. And that's the Germans, and that runs in at, oh, what have I forgotten? I have forgotten my free air observer.
Yes.
Oh, so I'll have to get the figure out of the box for that. So that's the German army for today.
How many points was that?
That is 1275. It should be, but mine's just a bit under. Because I had the 10%, didn't I? And then the 10%.
You have 2 double 10%.
And then the whatchamacallit, yeah. I felt really harsh putting that together.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, then John, take us through what you got.
Okay, well, they're all regular, the whole army. We have 2 platoons again, same as the Germans. We have a first lieutenant on his own. Then we have 2 infantry units, 10 men with an LMG, a 3 forward observer, machine gun team, a boys anti-tank rifle team, medium mortar with spotter, and light artillery, which is the 18/25 pounder. Then the second platoon has a first lieutenant, 2 regular infantry units of 10 men with LMG, and a boys anti-tank rifle, the quickfire 2 pounder, and a light tank Mark 6C with the cannon.
Marvellous.
That's the cannon. Unfortunately, only got 1 BEF, so I've used a Russian anti-tank rifle to represent that. And I'm taking the rapid fire.
Yeah, again.
That's my characteristic.
Yeah, they are really nice. Yeah, and these are all the Metal Warlord BF.
Mixture.
Oh, they're a mixture, are they?
There's 2 BF
yeah.
units.
Yeah.
There's a normal infantry unit, just so I can have some troops without the early art equipment. And there's also a first corps infantry unit.
All right, yeah.
And the rest is Warlord.
Yeah, really nice. So the table set up today is for scenario 2 out of the book. What's it called?
First contact.
First contact. And the British, we're using the British in defence. So John has 1,000 points, and he gets 2 minefields, and he can put all his units that are on the table into dug-in position. So that's represented by the walls at the back. They'll disappear, but it's just denoting where the dug-in troops will be. So that's on that side. Then there's a few hedges and buildings coming across and a road up the middle. I think you probably know where some minefields are going to be. So it's Defender John and my Germans to come in, and what I've got to do is kill and get units into the deployment zone or off the board.
Off the board.
Off the board.
Kill and off the board.
You can see that I've read the scenario. No. So that's what I've got to do.
And you got your Stuka, don't forget.
And I've got a Stuka, yes.
You get a free Stuka.
To shoot myself up. Because I've never had it really work when I've used it for the Marines. Not that I use the Stuka for the Marines, but...
I don't think I've got any flak.
No flak. Yay! So all mine start off the table, and I've got to designate at least half as my first wave. So first wave, I've got the inexperienced officer, because otherwise he'll never come on. 2 units of here. My medium mortar. The air spotter. Oh, air spotter, yep. And the Panzer 4. So that'll be the Panzer 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the air spotter 7. Right, okie dokie, that's what's going on, and the rest will come on in reserve. So before we go into dice pulling, this is John's setup. Let's get a little bit more light on the situation. Yeah, as you can see there, he's got his infantry dug in. He's got his 25 pounder over there. Oh, he's got his medium mortar over there as well. Medium machine gun in the middle. Oh, look at all that dug in. We're back into First World War here now, aren't we? Yep, another his light anti-tank 2 pounder quick firer there, and the more infantry, and his little Vickers tucked away behind the tree. Yeah, so as I said, everything of mine starts off board, and I've got the first wave to bring on. So let's go into. What's the matter? What you just thought? Hey? Oh yeah, there's a minefield, isn't there?
That means my Vickers can't make it anywhere forward. He can't get through there. He'll blow himself up.
Because that's a minefield. Yeah, John gets 2 minefields, and the first one is there, and the second one is over there. Yeah, which is to a degree funneling me down onto the bits in the middle. So let's see how we go on. So into turn 1, and I started to bring on the Germans, and we've got an infantry unit coming on from this side. Got the medium mortar behind the barn. Another infantry unit into the woods. Got the inexperienced officer coming up behind the mortar, and brought the Panzer 4 on and the 2nd platoon officer, and we've got the air observer. So what we've got over on this far side is the ambush has gone off, and the light anti-tank took a shot at the Panzer 4, did hit it, but did nothing to it, so just put a pin on it. And the anti-tank rifle that was in ambush missed it, so we survived that. The little Vickers put some shots onto the unit in the wood, as did the machine gun, and what else was it?
The other unit next to it.
And the other unit next to it, and put a pin on it. The Vickers missed it, but the machine gun got a hit, didn't it?
Yeah, the brain did, yeah.
Did you get 2 pins on it then?
No, because one missed.
One missed, right. Right, so that's it at the moment. And I took a shot at the Vickers and missed. I needed a 6. So it was just that little pin from the ambush that did for me on that one.
Yeah, you rolled a 5.
Yeah, because I rolled a 5. And my air observer has called down a strike on the artillery piece. So we'll see how that works at the beginning of the next turn. Right, beginning of turn 2, and I've rolled a 3 on the airstrike, so it's the skies are empty, so no Stuka coming in. But at least it wasn't a 1, so that was a bonus. So, into turn 2. So, Germans fully committed now. I've moved up this squad on the right. Need to get moving. And unfortunately, they took 2 casualties from the firing from the LMG on the far side. That was a pretty good shot. Mortars trying to range in on the artillery piece, so I need a 5 next turn around. This unit, well, as you can see there, John's free auxiliary observer has put a marker down, so I've had to try and starburst some of them away. These I managed to pass a leadership test on a 7 to get them out of the wood, so they probably will get hit, but we'll try not to. And I've got my observer there, he's getting ranged in on, and John needs a 4 to hit him next time, and my officer is pretty close to that marker. I've tried to take out his little Vickers tank, and he's survived unscathed, sadly. Brought on my 2316 rad and missed, which only needed a 4, but with 2 dice, still missed, which was a bit annoying. And then the Panzer IV had 3 pins. I managed to get rid of 1, and did he do the kill? No, he didn't. Yes, he did. He didn't do a kill, but he put 1 pin on the artillery piece, didn't he? And my 38T came on and took a shot at the Panzer, at the Vickers 6, and missed as well. So that's not so good. And John's Vickers put a pin on the armoured car. Over on this side, I've advanced on the Pioneers, and they've debussed from the truck. And I've brought on 1 section of here, running on this side, and unfortunately 1 other section has failed to come on. My artillery piece, airstrike, as you saw at the beginning, failed to come on, but now we're going to roll to see if it comes on this turn. At the beginning of this turn, let's get a dice, and let's see what we get.
Yes.
Yeah, that comes on.
Right, and my artillery.
Yeah, John's artillery.
See what happens.
Yeah, John's artillery comes on as well.
So let's do that.
Yeah. So let's work out what we've got. Airstrike has come in, and this unit's taken 2 pins because it's near to where the actual plane is, and then 1 pin on this unit. Moving across to where the strike was, we've got 2 pins on the observer.
Yep.
And we've got 4 pins on the artillery piece and 1 casualty, because they count us down. And then we move across and we put 1 pin.
2 on that one.
Oh, 2 pins. 2 pins on this unit here, because the 4-inch template hit them. Did I kill 1 of them?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, and killed 1. So yeah, could have been better. Could have been worse, because I could have rolled a 1. So that's in. So now we do John's, because his artillery strike has come in. So it's D6 plus 6.
8.
So 8 inches from there. So that's going to be at least that. Timber! Yeah, we go for that. And then, yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep. So on John's, whoops, just pan out from that. So we've got the infantry unit hit, and the officer, the observer, and the 231. So we'll see what comes up, and we'll give the damage results. So survived without anything being killed, but I've got an extra pin on the 231, 2 pins on the mortar spotter, and 2 pins on the officer, and another pin onto the infantry unit here. So that's going to slow them up a bit as we move into turn 3.
Turn 3, yes.
Yeah, turn 3. So end of the turn, and what we're looking at is a bit of luck for the Germans in the advance. We've managed to take out the 18 25 pounder and the 2 pounder, and we've stunned the Vickers. So with that, the German armour is poured forward into the middle of the table. We're moving the Germans on the flank up to the side, but we did take a casualty and got a pin on the far right. Moved the officers up to do a bit of support. Moved the air observer into the buildings, because we've got to get into that second half of the table. Over here we're a bit stuffed. Needing a 3, I think, next turn to hit the mortar observer with the British mortar. Managed to pass the leadership test for the officer, and he's off to the mortar to try and get this unit to move. and this one sadly failed their leadership test and went down, so they're going to be a bit stuck. And this unit in the middle also failed the leadership test and went down. And I've got a unit off board which has failed its test for the second time. So I think that could well be a casualty against me as we progress in. So, moving into the next turn, the armour has got the upper hand on this side. So, see you in the next turn. End of turn 4, and we've tried to push through on this right-hand side. We've focused all the tank fire with machine guns onto the section on that far right-hand side and put 3 pins on it, which then allowed me to push up the Pioneer squad and also the Here squad. John tried a very nice little move by moving his officer up because he's a first lieutenant, but did fail to get them to pass their leadership test, so they went down. And then the second section to the left also went down, which was a result for me. So trying to push through on this right hand side, advanced up the officers to try and get through. I've got to get units off the end of the table. We're moving into turn 5, which leaves 2 turns, and I've got maximum move of 24 inches if they run 2 turns, but they're going to possibly get off. Pioneers are going to struggle because they've got a 6-inch move out of the woods, and the officers have got that. So we'll see what we can do with the tanks. On this side, rallied the infantry to try and give them a bit of a chance to move, because otherwise I lose a point for them. Armoured car in the middle, failed its leadership test, went down. John's rallied his Vickers. I've run the medium mortar, because the mortar spotter got killed with the mortar from the British. This unit again failed a leadership test and went down, and off board I've got the Here that also failed their leadership test and went down. So we've got a chance to get a few off on that right hand flank, struggling on this left hand side, and I'm not sure where those Here are going to go or whether they're going to come on. So, into turn 5. Into turn 5, and we have managed to get the breakthrough on this right-hand side. We've got 1 Here unit off, and we've got the air observer up, and the officer moving up. Did take a bit of pounding on the Pioneers. They're down to 2 men, but they passed their leadership test. And over here, we've been able to bring the Here unit on, so they've gotten on 12, as maximum as they could. This unit that rallied last turn, they've moved up 12. Mortar got a bit stuck, did try to run him up, and also this unit here up to the fence have taken a few casualties, but I'm hoping they're within 24 inches. They're in John's deployment, well, in his half of the table. Rallied the armoured car, just in case that I can get it to move next turn. Panzers are up against there. They did do a bit of decimation on that side, and we are hoping to possibly get them off at turn 6 before we move into the possible last turn of a 7, but that will be on the dice roll. Over this side, John's army is still fairly intact, but I'm still trying to push up just to prevent losing points, but we'll see how that goes. So moving into turn 6. So into turn 6, and I did make a mistake. What a mistake to make. John gets 2 points for everyone that he destroyed, so I've just wasted 2 to 3 units putting them forward to give him 6 points where he could have only got 3. A bit of a pain on this left-hand flank. Run these ones up. They are on the 24-inch line because they came on in turn 5. Move forward 24, so the majority of their base is still going to be in my deployment zone. Managed to pass the leadership test, advanced up the 231, but it failed to hit anything. I've managed to push off the 38T and the Panzer IV and the air observer. So, and also, what else? No, that's about it. I've got 4 off at the moment, but I did lose the officer team to shooting, and John lost his officer. A valiant VC move when he charged the 2 Pioneers and failed to hit. So he's dead. So I'm hoping to get the truck off as well. This is, well, I was hoping, but those 2 units finished an inch short of the end line. So they're still on board. However, we go to see if we get a turn 7. Yep. Yes. And we get a turn 7. Oh, that's going to make it very interesting.
Last turn.
So, last turn. And we'll see where we are. So, in that turn, there was a bit of daring do. John's British officer thought he needed to act and try and stop one of my units from escaping from the board. So, he charged his British officer in to the Pioneer unit. Fortunately for John, the charge was able to get in because he was within 6 inches of the pioneers and they couldn't get a shot. So in went the officer. He's got a pistol, so he's a tough fighter, but he's fighting 2 tough fighter pioneers who are also veterans, and John's officer was only a regular. So sadly for John, he died. Possibly a posthumous VC? Well, we don't know. But yeah, sadly for John, his officer died. How? This then raised an interesting little point of the rules for this scenario, because obviously charging and winning an assault, I could get to consolidate D6. So if I consolidated, as you can see here, 2 inches, I'd be off the board with the unit, which just didn't seem right. Well, no, it didn't seem right on the night. So we took it that it couldn't consolidate off the board, and so when we went into turn 7, I was able to move them at that stage if they survived. So yeah, interesting little point of the law, and we took it that they couldn't consolidate off, they'd have to move off using an order dice. So end of turn 7, and my truck didn't make it off. It got shot up by the British. Over here, a little bit of success for the Germans, and the armoured car was able to kill off the medium machine gun. And over here, I'll run these behind the building. Wasn't going to give John an extra point now that I know what was happening. And the other unit ran up to get as close to the foxholes as possible and get into that final side. So the ones that I managed to get off board, let's just spin it around. Sorry if you get a bit dizzy. What we've got off the table is 2 of the Pioneer unit. They were initially 6 men. We got an 8-man unit off the board. We got this 38T off. Got the Panzer IV, and we got the Air Observer. So broke through with those. When John, whoa, get the dizziness going. When John added up the points, he had got 13 points, and fortunately for me, I managed to get 16. So a breakthrough and a win to the Germans. If I had lost this battle, John would have won. But as it's now 2 wins on this one, we now go through to the third battle, and John gets extra troops for reinforcements. We refight this, so I'm going to have to think of what I do and on that. So yeah, excellent game. Thanks for watching there. I managed to take out in that one turn the 25-pounder and the light anti-tank gun, and that gave me my chance to get across the table. So that was in, and then once I got in, mind you, John was very helpful because I had started to focus my firing on his tank, and John did ask me why was I doing that, and that was true. There wasn't any point. It was just tank fire, as you do. So I got myself together and we started to take out the infantry. My plan was, initially anyway, was to do a little feint on the left and then move as much as I could off the table on the right. The vehicles were a little bit stuck because of the board setup and not being able to travel across difficult ground or rough ground. I did make a mistake with that 6-rad by running it down the road as far as I did, because then it hemmed me in. I would have had to reverse back and then moved forward. That did cause me a little bit of a nuisance. But there we go, that's how it happens. So yeah, great game. I've got 2 wins now in the mini campaign, so we're moving on to the third game. In the third game, it's this scenario replayed, but John now gets extra points. So I'm going to have to sit down and look at my list and think about what I'm going to add in. Yes, lessons learned. I think I might include an artillery observer. Probably need to bring something in like that to deal with those people in those dug-in positions. That's what I think I might go for. Anyway, so hope you enjoyed it. Please give a subscribe. If you aren't already subscribed and you like what you see, give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and share with your friends if you think they might like it as well. There's also the notification button somewhere around. If you give it a quick nudge, then you'll know when the next video comes up. So until the next time, thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for subscribing, and see you later.